We're great we're grateful to have you with us today. Your insights and feedback are absolutely invaluable as they will directly inform the design of a procurement process that prioritizes equity, amplifies worker voice, and strengthens opportunities for the communities we serve. Just a note that language interpretation in Spanish, Cantonese, and Filipino will be offered at our upcoming in-person listening sessions, and we'll be giving you more details about those sessions at the end of our presentation. Okay, on to the agenda. We have a little delay, y'all, so bear with us. It's probably because there's so many of you who have joined us today. We're so excited about it, but our tech is freaking out a bit. So our agenda for today includes a welcome from our Workforce Director, Iowayna Peña, followed by an overview of our division's mission and the mayor's priorities. We'll then walk through OEWD's workforce system, share details on the upcoming winter RFP and corresponding timeline, and then we're going to open the floor for questions. We'll close the session by outlining next steps. And now, I would like to introduce our Workforce Development Director, Iowayna Peña.
Thank you, Jen. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. First and foremost, I want to wish you all a happy Workforce Development Month. This is a perfect time for us to come together, share insights, and help shape this RFP that truly supports our community and reflects its needs. I'd like to take a moment to share a bit about myself and my background in workforce development for those of you who haven't met me yet. It's been shaped by a very unique blend of experiences. I designed the foundation of my career at the intersection of sports medicine, education, and public policy, and have always been driven by a commitment to empowering both individuals and communities. Over the past decade, I've curated industry partnerships, designed curricula, and created training programs that open real pathways to opportunity. Early on in my career, I co-created a health sciences workforce program that connected students to hands-on experiences with organizations like the Kobe Bryant's Basketball Academy, the X Games, Nike Football Combines, and even the US Olympic Trials. More recently, I led the launch of Mission Rock Academy for the San Francisco Giants, a workforce program that was developed in partnership with CityBuild. That initiative produced San Francisco's first women's construction training program, breaking ground both literally and figuratively, if you can get my humor there. At the heart of all this work is a shared belief, right? Workforce development is community development. And in moments of change like what we're experiencing today, it's critical that we look to each other to ensure we're lifting up the next generation of workers in ways that meets their needs and unlocks their potential. So I want to talk to you a little bit about how we'll do this work and how we have aligned ourselves with the mayor's vision for San Francisco. A little lag in our slide transition here, you all. But as you all may have heard, Mayor's vision for San Francisco is built on three guiding principles: service, accountability, and change. At its core, this vision is of a world-class city that delivers for everyone who lives, works, and visits here. The mayor's mission to provide exceptional core city services that allow every San Franciscan to live safe, healthy, and productive lives aligns directly with OEWD's mission and values, reinforcing our shared commitment to equity, opportunity, and community well-being. Our next slide. Thank you. And so before you right now is OEWD's mission. Just want to be transparent in sharing this. Our Workforce Development Division of the Office of Economic and Workforce Development coordinates the San Francisco Workforce Development System, which is a network of public, private, and nonprofit service providers that serve San Francisco's job seekers and employers. We offer San Francisco employer services and assistance to attract, grow, and retain a diverse workforce. At the cornerstone of our work is employment equity. This was a statement that was developed to highlight where our principles align with employment equity and is our guiding philosophy that shapes every program, partnership, and decision that we make. So I'll read it briefly here. Employment equity ensures that OEWD's programs and services do not disadvantage or limit access, training, or employment opportunities based on race, ethnicity, gender equity, housing status, age, physical or cognitive ability, sexual orientation, immigration status, country of origin, language, or justice system involvement. We acknowledge the intersectionality of these characteristics, particularly race, which disproportionately affects access and opportunity for each of these groups. OEWD is committed to addressing our responsibility to advance workforce equity through our programs and services by changing the beliefs, policies, institutions, and systems that have limited employment and career success for too many San Franciscans. Every resident of San Francisco deserves the opportunity to achieve employment and economic success. Our goal is a skilled and equipped workforce that reflects the diversity and assets of all of the city's residents. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Jen Salerno, so you can discuss OEWD's workforce system, our RFP timeline, and next steps. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
Thanks, Director. So, more than 60 community partners power our work, delivering training and services that create opportunity and economic mobility across San Francisco. Our layered approach consists of trusted community partnerships, strong workforce infrastructure, and wraparound services, which ensures that participants are recruited, enrolled, and supported on their paths to meaningful careers. OEWD's job seeker services provide a wide range of support for adults and young adults through our network of comprehensive young adult and neighborhood job centers located in the Bayview, Chinatown, Tenderloin, Mission, Visitation Valley, Western Addition, and OMI, with additional satellite services in the Excelsior, Richmond, and Sunset neighborhoods. We also deliver specialized services for economically vulnerable populations, including individuals involved with the criminal justice system, immigrants, individuals with disabilities, veterans, and folks from the LGBTQI communities. In addition, our sector-based training programs in construction, healthcare, hospitality technology, and other emerging industries of opportunity create direct pathways to employment and career advancement. All right, so we provide access through one comprehensive job center, 10 neighborhood job centers rooted in high need communities, and specialized centers that deliver customized support for historically underserved populations. OEWD supports a portfolio of service providers that specialize in workforce development services for transitional aged youth and young adults. Through our young adult job centers, we offer a range of of education and career services. Our subsidized employment programs provide paid work experience in high demand industries, and our RAMP program delivers an intensive career boot camp paired with hands-on work experience. I mentioned our sector training programs previously, a little bit more about those. OEWD has built and invested in 5 sector portfolios. We have City Build for construction and construction administration, our Healthcare Academy, Tech SF, which specializes in information and communication technology, the Hospitality Initiative, which includes accommodations and food service, and industries of opportunity, which includes social services, trade, transportation, logistics, early childhood education, among others. So now we're excited to share with you the outcomes from our 24-25 program year, highlighting the reach and impact of the OEWD workforce system and its dedicated providers. Over the year, nearly 6,500 individuals enrolled across our programs, resulting in approximately 3,700 job placements, demonstrating the strength and effectiveness of our network in connecting people to meaningful work. Our workforce system features a robust network of service providers and sector specific programs that offer entry and mid level opportunities in targeted industries. While we are successfully reaching many job seekers, a significant number of San Franciscans remain underserved. Additional support is needed to help individuals achieve self sufficiency, and stronger pathways must be developed into careers that provide sustainable living wages. So we're going to go over our timeline for the RFP here. This is our tentative timeline, which consists of the following. So September through November of 2025, stakeholder engagement, beginning with this very kickoff event, is going to continue through November. And then in December 2025 through January of 2026, we're going to incorporate all of the stakeholder input and labor market information that we have to develop and finalize funding strategies. At the end of January 2026 is when we intend to release our procurement and host our bidders technical assistance conference. During the months of March through April 2026, that's when we'll be reviewing proposals, and award notification should be issued by the end of April. During the months of April through June of 2026, that's when we'll do scope negotiations with our awardees. And finally, July 1st, 2026 is when new contracts take effect and services officially launch. Okay, so here is what we're envisioning around expanding skills and reach. So we want to continue to focus on our 5 sectors, but adapt to current economic conditions. We also want to explore additional occupational trainings, increase short-term industry certification opportunities, broaden our employer reach, expand skill advancement training, apprenticeship opportunities, and earn and learn models, expand and enhance wraparound supportive services for San Franciscans facing significant workforce barriers and challenges, and finally, create stronger linkages for young adults to enter sector and next step skills training. All right, so now we're moving on to the Q&A portion of our presentation. And while many of you may already have questions in mind, we've prepared a few from our office to get the conversation started. So those questions are the following. How does your organization ensure that worker and participant voices directly inform program design, service delivery, and continuous improvement? What strategies will you use to give job seekers meaningful choice in selecting training pathways, occupations, and support services? What training pathways will you provide that lead to family sustaining wages and long-term career growth? How will you align training offerings with labor market demand and employer need while ensuring workers are not limited to low wage, low growth occupations? How will you measure whether your program is placing participants into living wage jobs with opportunities for advancement? And finally, what practices will you use to ensure that program improvements are shared with other workforce partners to strengthen the broader ecosystem? All right, you may have noticed that the chat feature is not active, so we ask you if you have questions to come off mute and ask your questions, and we'll do our best to answer your questions. Who wants to kick us off?
Hi there. Can you all hear me?
We can.
Wonderful. My name is Catherine Fuentes, and my question is around childcare and providing a holistic approach to supporting workforce participation, particularly for parents and mothers. What programs has the Office of Economic and Workforce Development considered around supporting families with improved childcare and or supporting childcare businesses to operate more efficiently within the San Francisco area to support more families, keeping in mind that most childcare providers make about the same as dishwashers. That's sort of the value that we place on their services. And oftentimes they work to support families in reaching their own economic or socioeconomic goals while living oftentimes in near poverty standards. So curious to know in both ways, how are you supporting workforce participation and how are you supporting those businesses that support those families?
Absolutely. Thank you for your question, Kat. So a huge component of all of our programming is supportive services. And so, we understand that when it comes to workforce development, retaining a job requires additional support, especially for the populations we serve. We work really closely with the Children's Council. We do have some strategies around early childhood education. So it is a focus of ours. And I'll turn it over to Director Pena if she wants to add anything to that. And we are continuing to develop some more specific strategies that may come out of these listening sessions and other stakeholder engagement sessions that will inform further development of those strategies.
Thanks, Jen. I appreciate the question, Ms. Fuentes. I think the one thing I would just add to that is we're actively having conversations with other city agencies and their network to understand where there are additional opportunities to help even broaden what the world of childcare options look like for our current providers, but also for our understanding what training opportunity exists and how we can better coordinate with youth our youth departments and family facing services there to make a more robust investment.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Director. And I just wanted to follow up. Will supportive services be a part of this RFP in January?
We are not planning to eliminate the supportive services that have come as a part of our program. So the stipends and there are additional measures that we obviously need to take into consideration with this year's budget constraints, but the intention is to continue to provide those services.
Understood. Thank you.
All right. I think Dina, your hand may have been the
Hi,
first one I saw.
this is Dina Lon from the San Francisco Community Clinic Consortium. My question is about the RFP process itself because we've never applied to this before. I know you have a healthcare academy currently, but is the RFP an opening up and kind of starting from ground zero, or are the people who have traditionally gotten the funding, do they already have a leg up during the RFP process?
Director, if you want to speak to that question.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So this is, to use your term, ground zero. It's a fresh RFP. I know it's been a while since our office has last put one out for the public bidding. So there are no additional points that folks are receiving necessarily because they've been a grantee of ours in the past. This is a fair and equitable process that we will, in kind of how you're seeing our approach, or for those of you that have applied in the past, seeing our approach in this year changing a little bit so that we can get so we can refine the process and make improvements as we go. But this is a fresh.
Great.
Yeah.
And what kind of data should we rely on? So for example, we're thinking of putting forth we have a pilot program that we'd like to expand that trains and places community health workers. What kind of data should we be gathering in terms of the market, to kind of prove that this is a unmet need in San Francisco? Like, is that something that we should have as part of our RFP response?
I'll start that question and then maybe hand that over to my deputy over for workforce programs, Rin. But as a baseline, we're still putting together the final information in terms of like what the instructions will be for you all. So we'll be sure to include that level of detail in the RFP response instructions. But also know that our office is on the receiving end of a lot of labor market data and information. So we may be seeing some of what you're planning to submit. And then if I miss anything that you want to add in there, Ren.
I think it's a great point to consider when you're writing your proposal to add statistics that make sense, whether it's labor market information from Bureau of Labor Statistics or even local trends that you're able to point out and identify. There will be an opportunity too to add letter support from employers. So where you're seeing those connections would be helpful as well.
Great, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to call them out as I see them on the screen. Glenn Eagleson, I believe you're next.
Thank you, Jen. Glenn Eagleson with Success Centers. Kind of a twofold question. One is, given changes in the labor market, do you anticipate any changes in the primary sector strategies? And then as a kind of an operational aspect or operational question, do you anticipate any changes in the application process itself for the through the RFP?
I'm happy to answer again. So yeah, the sector strategy is something we're committed to, but this is our period of exploration, right? We're going to continue to engage with stakeholders. We're going to do a number of community listening sessions, and we want to invest in the strategies that make sense in accordance with the labor market information and what the community wants, where there are entry points for community members to enter into occupations where they can make a living wage and not just survive in San Francisco, but thrive. In your second part of your question, sorry, Glenn.
Sorry, the second part was actually around the application process itself. You know, there years ago there was discussion about, you know, should there be like a you know, like organizations submit all their background information first so you can get that out of the way before applying later to the project, to the programs. Is there any changes in the systems that you've been using or plan on using, et cetera?
So that's still in development. So more to come on what that's going to look like. All right, Glenn, did you have anything else you wanted to add or ask?
No, that was great. Thank you.
All right. All right, Ginny, you're the next person I see.
Hi, thanks so much for this opportunity to ask questions. So I'm curious, given how our labor market is changing so rapidly, given the impact trickling down from the federal level, I'm thinking about healthcare and technology specifically. Healthcare in terms of how a lot of folks across the country have lost like health benefits because of Medicaid cuts and technology being disrupted because of AI, changing the basic skills. So I'm curious, in terms of the questions you posed in the PowerPoint, in terms of like questions for specifically, and also acknowledging there's been budget cuts impacting city departments, including OEWD. Do you envision any funding being allocated for research and development to evaluate which occupations make the most sense and are accessible to San Franciscan residents?
Director Pena, do you want to
Yeah, I
answer?
was gonna, I'll kick it off and then Jenna can let you fill in. Appreciate the question. I think that is, it is an ever-moving target. There's a lot of information that is still coming in around the federal government and the decisions that are being made there that we are actively watching. Obviously, like where there are aspects of that will impact our work that we don't know to date. So I think what I will say is our approach to it has been to work very closely with our stakeholders in the policy body. And when you're asking specifically around just like the impacts around like tech and like healthcare, while we don't directly have control over those outcomes, we are trying to be thoughtful in our approach with this RFP to where we anticipate there might be gaps in or need that our kind of work can help fulfill. And then I'll pass that over to.
Yeah, I think that was a more than adequate answer. I think, was there also a question in there about the types of occupations that we're looking at and how we're determining which occupations are going to be incorporated into the RFP? Did I understand it correctly?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we're always looking at labor market data. We're engaged with other workforce development experts and workforce development boards at the regional and at the state level. We're taking into consideration local priorities, state priorities. All of this is taken into consideration when we make these decisions, and we're taking into consideration the things that you all are saying in terms of what it is that your job seekers are looking for and the kind of employment that they're seeking. So it's really a robust stakeholder information system in conjunction with labor market data that we look at.
Great. And this is the last question because I want other people to have the chances to
Mhm.
ask. Do you see this RFP kind of like being in response to California jobs first? Because that's what came to mind when you said state priorities.
In response to, no, we would have done this RFP, but certainly looking for ways to make sure that there are connection points to that work.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right, Mary Rivers, you're the next person I see on the screen here.
Hi, thank you. I have a question in regards to workforce. I know that in the past, there's been various sectors, not always touching on all of the sectors of workforce and the community for funding. I'm wondering how environmental jobs fit into this RFP to make sure that apprenticeships are provided. There is secondary career choices that they can go to. And I just want to be sure that that would be something that would be included in the RFP. I know that the workforce turnover is not that high in the environmental training. And so I just want to be sure that they are able to compete with this RFP.
Yep, great question. It is an area or sector that we are going to be receiving proposals for. That is included. I think it's our last listening session that we have slated for environmental and or climate related workforce training programs.
That's correct. We are going to delve into that area more deeply at our last listening session. So we do encourage you to attend.
Thank you.
All right, Willie, and you came off mute. You knew.
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
I can now, yes.
Okay. My question has to do with soft skills, such as time management, self-management, etc. So are these being factored into your program? And if they are, is that something that OEWD is going to manage, or the vendor will be bringing that in as part of their program?
Great question, Willie. That is really kind of like sector and program specific. I think with the breadth of careers that we are training folks for, or that we support the training programs for through our office, there are those of you who provide that directly, and then there are those of you that have that as part of your training methodology. So we'll be looking at both.
Excellent. Thank you.
Perfect. Brett, I think you're up next.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Director Pena, and everyone. So are city departments eligible to apply?
Brett, I think we should probably talk to you offline, because we have a system in place for interagency work, and generally that's through like our work orders. But maybe someone I could direct you to someone on my staff to connect on, and we could talk more at length about how the departments work more directly with each other.
Thank you so much.
All right, I think Marnie, you're next.
Hi, thank you. Marnie Regan from Larkin Street Youth Services. Just wanted to advocate for really being intentional about having a strategy for youth and young adults who typically are starting out, of course, because of their age, in entry level, but also having that as part of a longer term career growth. The transitional age youth are just different than adults, older adults. But that shouldn't, an entry level is a starting point, and it should be part of a longer term journey. I also wanted to advocate for OEWD having more of a interrelated strategy with your other, like your downtown revitalization, all of that, and having, our clients who, a lot of us obviously serve really low income and homeless and formerly homeless folks, should be part of rebuilding and the next, revitalization of San Francisco, and should think about some career tracks and internships that help with all the different plans, exciting things that the mayor's launching with downtown and the events, and like all of that's super exciting. So let's get our clients involved in that. Thanks.
Thank you so much for your comment, and we will absolutely keep that in mind. Now, did you have a specific question regarding youth services? Sorry, I wasn't able to tease that out. Director Pena, if you were.
I guess my question is just, do you have a strategy? How are you thinking about young adults? Thanks.
Appreciate the question. I think that the more broadly, what I will say is with what we are hearing from our mayor and the team working in the downtown spaces, the hospitality pathway seems to be one of the areas where we have established a training or establish a relationship for trainings that would create opportunities for young folks there. So continuing to, and this is why we are here, continuing to explore what that looks like and are open to what you all as our partners out there on the ground are hearing and seeing as opportunities as well.
All right. Hi, John Halpin. You're next.
Hi there. John Halpin from City College. It's more of a comment as you are writing the RFP to consider community organizations partnering with City College as a training provider rather than doing the trainings themselves. That City College often has existing curriculum that could be leveraged to help your job seekers enter employment. And we also have a pool of job-ready graduates who are looking for internships and placement opportunities. That could also be another way to partner with community organizations. Thank you.
Thank you, John. We appreciate your comment and we'll certainly keep that in mind. Hollis, I believe you're next.
Hi, thank you. I'm with Literacy for Environmental Justice, and I start my 5th year in October 1st. During my tenure at LEDGE, I do not recall applying for this grant. My question is, how open is the grant to partnerships? So submitting proposals where we're partnering with another organization.
All right. So that I'm clear, are you asking if there's an opportunity for joint applications?
Yes.
Got it. I'm actually going to swing that one to one of my staff. Jen Salerno, are you able to take that?
Yeah, my understanding is yes, we love partnerships. Whether it's a direct partnership or a grantee sub-grantee relationship, partnerships are wonderful.
Okay.
Did I get that right, Ren?
Yes, absolutely. So I mean, we're still gonna work and formalize this process and share it out where it's written out, but there should be, again, an opportunity to designate a primary grantee. And then if you have partnerships, that can be established through a sub-grantee relationship, and you can spell out that all in your proposal.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Hollis. Kim Martinez.
Hi, could we quickly go back to the timeline just so I can make note, please? Appreciate it.
Yeah, we can do that when we move on to the next question.
Or also note, just for everyone on the call, we will be sending out these dates. If you are a current grantee of ours, you will get this information. If you have not been a grantee of ours, you will get this information. We're going to post this on our website, but we'll also send a follow-up email to everyone that registered for today's info session to get these dates out to you. So don't panic about trying to scribble them all down or the sectors. We'll send all of this information out to everyone. Today, we just wanted to be here in person and really like give you all this time, FaceTime with me to hear directly from you.
I just wanted to highlight that I have my hand raised for another question, not an old question.
I appreciate that. We will circle back once we make our way through the crowd, okay? All right, Sylvia, I believe you're next.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Sylvia from Farming Hope. I have a suggestion in terms of reporting and invoicing. My suggestion, if you could consider as an entire department, making it more cohesive of a process so that we as grantees, it could be an easier process and we don't have to spend too much time differentiating between
different processes between different departments within OED, just so we could focus more time on doing the work. We would really appreciate that. Something I want to share throughout all the entire city, but since you are offering this session, I want to share it with your department. So thank you for considering.
Thank you, Sylvia. We appreciate your comment. We'll absolutely keep that in mind. Kathy Spenceley. You there, Kathy? All right. So we'll move on to Catherine Mariquin.
Hi, I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about how OEWD is intentionally aligning higher education pathways with workforce development initiatives, just so that we could really see that advancement of our young people in long-term careers, livable wage jobs, that sort of thing.
Yeah, great question. It is something that we are actively working on, had meetings with our, and well, one of our core partners is on the call, but are actively meeting with our education institutions and departments and agencies that the city is directly overseeing in how we, and redesigning like how we do that work. So I think there's more on that to come, but to just quickly like address like your comment here, it's something that we are actively thinking of, talking with the school district and the departments that service our youth and families.
Is that, just as a follow-up question, is that like a priority in terms of the RFP and in terms of like, RFPs that come out that maybe make that connection?
For my clarification, are you asking if we are making the education requirement part of the response for the RFP?
Yeah, I mean, not so much a response, or maybe, maybe that's the way to do it, but I'm just wondering if that's like a priority in terms of, really trying to link the education piece, the pathways with the workforce initiatives.
Thank you for clarifying. I think the best way for me to approach that is where in all of our training programs, we're always looking to create the opportunity for folks to off-ramp to education and higher education if that is something that is of interest to them. But we don't want that to be a limitation or an added barrier that makes it difficult for folks to just enter the workforce once completing the program. So think of it as like there's that, it's a bonus, and it would love to see that be a direction that folks that graduates from your respective programs are looking toward, if not more in the immediate future, in the near future, but not a requirement.
Thank you.
And Kathy Spenceley, I'm sorry, I moved on at lightning speed. You were on my screen and then you disappeared. Do you happen to be there?
Yes, I am. Sorry about that. My question is wondering about the strategy for addressing employment needs of older adults, especially given the fact that the Senior Community Employment Training Program is slated to be eliminated. There's still a little bit of hope, but across the country, and I'm at Felton Institute, and we do have that program for San Francisco and have had it for many years successfully. Is there a plan to address that particular need with older adults for jobs?
Thank you for that question. I think I'll start the answer with that. We are casting this net wide and trying to think of everyone from our young adults, and that includes like our working youth, excuse me, as well as our elder and more mature population of folks who may not be necessarily ready to enjoy the retirement life yet. There's some strategy that we have that we are talking through with our workforce alignment committee, and are using that to inform how we write certain sections like of the RFP, but it's definitely something that we're thinking of.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hello, Carol Eggers.
Hello, Jen. How are you? Carol Eggers from Urban Services YMCA, and not surprisingly, I have just a practical question. When we looked at the timeline, we saw that the RFP would be released at the end of January and that grantees would be notified of their awards probably in March. Do we know about when the deadline to submit will be? So totally practical question.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I think I got lost somewhere.
Too many words.
It's okay.
RFP released around end of January. When will the applications be due, approximately?
So we're still working out all the details, Carol, but you'll know soon enough. We'll ensure that everybody gets the information. The deadline's subject to change, but it's probably going to be around the end of February, March-ish, just to give you a general sense. But keep an eye out for more specific information.
Perfect. Just a general. That's great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. April Silas.
April here with Homeless Children's Network. It's a gift to be here and thank you for hosting this session. My question is, to what extent will the listening sessions inform the design of the RFP, and similarly, to what extent will the listening sessions welcome recommendations from marginalized communities who would be present and willing to speak about what we seek to come out of the RFPs? So what extent will the design and the implementation be impacted by the listening sessions, particularly the ones in person?
I appreciate that question, Dr. Silas. For the design, we have not, none of the descriptions are set in stone yet, which is why we've not released them. The hope is that you all, in being our partners in this work, will come with your honest feedback and expertise so that we can include that in there. And that is the intention of all of these listening sessions. In terms of implementation, within reason, we will also be taking like those recommendations and sharing that more broadly with the entire department as well as our office.
Thank you, Director.
Esther.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for taking my question and thank you for hosting this work session. I am curious to find out about the funds being potentially awarded for this particular grant. Is there going to be a projected reduction in the award amount? And if so, is there a percentage to budget for, or an amount that we should look at reducing for the RFP and the budget determination for the grant itself?
Thank you for the question, Ms. Stoffer. We're generally, and for those of you that have been with our office for some time, you know that we experience budget reductions this fiscal year. That does not mean, though, that we have exact information about like how you may be needing to adjust what your program looks like. Once we release the RFP, each of the areas will have those award ranges included so that you're able to respond accordingly and with that in mind.
All right, thanks, Director. And I think we're ready to circle back to a couple of second questions. Is there anybody who has, oh, Ashley, you haven't asked a question yet, so I'm going to start with you.
Hi, and thank you for taking the question. I'm so glad to see everyone today. My question is basically on the submission of the RFP itself. Will there be someone who can take a look at streamlining the amount of questions and the process itself? Because it's the paperwork itself is quite daunting to my experience. But it's just a comment of mine. Hopefully that can be streamlined.
Thank you, Ashley. We appreciate, oh, Director. Just going to say we
Got it.
appreciate your
Hi, Ashley.
comment. We will take it into consideration. Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you.
All right, now, is there anyone here who has not yet asked an initial question who wants to ask a question? Going once? Going twice? All right, we're going to circle back. Kat.
Apologies. Thank you for allowing me to ask some additional questions. So I think I was just a little bit confused on the structure of the listening sessions. So I just wanted to kind of clarify for myself and anyone else that may have a similar question regarding the focus areas of the in-person. So along the same vein as Dr. Silas, I was under the impression that this RFP was really going to be formed by the feedback given in the community listening sessions, but it seems like they sort of have their main focus So how would we introduce other needs that are not, or like, for example, if I'm interested in talking about the needs of childcare providers and families, what session should I attend in October and November?
So I think you kind of asked like a two-part question with the childcare part, or at least that's how I received it. So please correct me if I'm wrong. When you think about the training participant aspect of it, that is something that I mean, we are listening today. That is something that we want to understand, like where there may be spaces that we have not tapped into or explored yet, resources that we're not aware of. Excuse me. And then from the training of childcare providers opportunity there, we are listening. Part of what we are doing as an office is also that we've got to clearly like align where the city's investments are aligned with this mayor and administration's goals and focus. So that's why we shared that, or being transparent about what we are looking to. We're listening to you all and also using that to inform the decisions made based on, or I should say, in concert with the amount of data that we have about where the labor market trends are. And then I think more broadly, we have this area, the industries of opportunity, so that we can tap into some of these areas I think that you're talking about that are maybe newer to as an industry sector, or a shift to how an industry sector has approached like the work before. But more broadly, everything that everyone shares today is being captured. I have several staff in here taking copious notes, and the goal is to have a focused discussion once we get to these specific sector listening sessions about where you all are seeing shifts and trends, and if those are ones that we are also hearing up from, but really casting the wide net so we can pull as much information as possible in putting this together. I hope that answers it better.
That did provide a little bit more clarification. I do plan to attend in person in some of the other sessions. I am not necessarily prepared to provide all of that analysis here and now, and I'm not sure that this is the appropriate place for me to do that. But I just do want to say that anything around workforce development, particularly for families, in order for it to be an impactful, holistic solution, needs to incorporate some form of childcare support. And keeping in mind, as you mentioned, that's twofold. There is support to the families who, without childcare, would not be able to participate in things like after school, or after work training programs or apprenticeship programs. But also primarily, it more so from a workforce development standpoint has to do with how we support your childcare industry. Those providers, those micro enterprise businesses within, San Francisco City and County, without the support from the Office of Economic and Workforce Development, these businesses, fail to thrive. They fail to run a sustainable operation. They overcharge for childcare, which compounds issues for families. So although they may not result in high wage paying skilled labor jobs, they are a huge necessity to making the workforce development ecosystem successful in San Francisco. So I will be joining some of the other listening sessions and encouraging providers that are in the San Francisco area to attend as well, to voice their concerns with the lack of services that they have seen for their specific industry type. But I thank you so much for giving me the time to just voice those concerns here.
Thank you, Kat. And in our next slide, we'll give you all the information pertaining to our upcoming listening sessions, and we encourage you to join all that you can join. Right. So Mary Rivers, it looks like you have a question as well.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't take my hand down, but I do have a question. In regards to eligibility, I want to be sure that to make this fair for everyone, that you're doing the process of elimination as to whether everyone is in compliance prior to reviewing RFP responses, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so we're currently in the process of putting all of the pieces together. So we don't have a decision on that currently. We're in the process of reviewing with the fiscal team. So more to come on that. Director Pena, is there anything you wanted to add?
No, I think you covered where I was going with that.
Glenn, you're next.
Thanks again, Jen. I think it's building on what Director Pena said earlier in her response to industries of opportunity. One of the things I think was unique and a good ad from the last RFP go around was the economic recovery and equity pilot section. Often it's city departments saying this is the need and we want you to do this to address the need. And I think those sections, the economic recovery pilots and equity pilots, allowed the community to say, in addition, there's another need that might not have been raised up. And here's a proposal to address it. It's also a way to address things that might be smaller and not, it's maybe you don't need a sector strategy to address it, but it could be something that a small investment of funds could really move the system forward. Could be around employer engagement, support services, et cetera, et cetera. But just something to consider in the next go around.
Thank you, Glenn. We appreciate that comment, and we'll definitely take that into consideration. All right. Esther, did you have another question?
Yeah, thank you. My question is regarding the scoring of the applications. Are you going to provide additional weight on the programs that that are currently receiving your grant funding? And I guess my overall question is, are you going to grandfather in the current applicants that are receiving your grant funding right now? And then if so, in reviewing the applications, I guess what I'm asking is whether or not it's truly competitive. And if it is going to be truly competitive, are you going to provide additional weight to the longevity of some of these other programs that are currently receiving grant funds?
Thank you for that question, Ms. Stoffer. I just want to reiterate to folks that this is a fresh and new RFP. And so though you will see programs that you may even as a grantee currently have operated for us, we are starting from scratch with a new process and informed by a lot of the information that we have gathered from you all, but also from our other city agencies around just operational changes that are coming. So it will be a fair, but yes, competitive process. The information that you need to feel, and that's part of, again, why we are here today and we'll do these sessions. We want to make sure that you all are able to apply or respond, having all of your questions addressed.
Thank you. Sarah, I see your hand raised.
Hi, thank you for this. I'm Sarah Fareed from HCN. I'm wondering about the amount of funding available for this year and whether it will be similar to past years and what the funding streams will look like the slide that you showed us previously for the past year. Can you give us a little bit of a sense of the funding opportunity?
So we have not finalized what the band will be for each of the sectors yet. We still have a couple of more of those conversations, but we are looking to award in total a range of like $15 to $18 million for this RFP.
Great, thank you.
All right, I don't see any more hands. Do we have any other questions out there? Steve, I see your actual hand. Steve Sellers, you are on mute, sir, but I see your hand.
Thank you. Sorry, I couldn't find the little hand down below.
No worries.
Thank you. I'm Steve Sellers. I'm with SF Made, and we work generally with manufacturers, but we also have a program that works with youth, especially STEM or STEAM youth, to kind of introduce them to what manufacturing companies are like, and starting a company and or working with manufacturing companies, what those kinds of careers are, especially for kids who are looking for something that's different from the sort of standard university track. And I'm wondering if there's going to be an opportunity for any of this money to be funneled in that direction for youth training or youth education.
Steve, very excited that you're on the call, sir. Can you
Nice to
put
see
your
you.
contact info in the chat? We'd love to
Oh
have
yeah,
a
happy to. Will do.
conversation with you. But more broadly, I think on one of the earlier slides, it talked about our efforts with like young adult, which youth are falling under. This is very much so a population that we are invested in exploring new avenues, training opportunities like for them. So that does not exclude what you're talking about.
Thanks.
And I just want to note the chat is disabled, but
Yes.
Steve, at the end of our presentation, we're going to provide an email address. So just send us your information that way.
Happy to do that. Thank you. I thought it was a
Sounds-
trick.
Yeah,
I know, I'm sorry.
we're not messing with you. We're just trying to keep track of too many things. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Lisa Fung, I see your hand.
Oh, this is Stephanie, but I think I'm under Lisa Fung. I'm from Enterprise for Youth, and it's so great to be here and to see a lot of our partners here. So as Steve mentioned, we also work with very young high school students and entering college. And I noticed that in the earlier slides, one of the measures was job placement. And so while we expose youth to jobs, we don't always place them because they're just juniors and seniors in high school. We certainly are also looking at transition age youth. So I wondered if one of the criteria for this grants is job placement, or it will be broader than that, which is career exposure, preparation for secondary education, certification, et cetera.
Hi, Lisa. Appreciate the question. It is definitely something that I think we are open to, particularly when you're talking about your population. There's some semblance of requirements from like our funding sources that require job placement to be, or education to be the factor there, and then weights the decision like on that. But we're looking for multiple avenues because they think there's some value in you being able to do the training. I will also say, for those of you that have maybe newer sectors or newer branches from longstanding sectors, when you have employer partners, or if you're able to like establish like partnerships like with some of the spaces where we would hope to find opportunities for folks to land with an employment offer, that is helpful. And so, yeah, I think I would leave it there.
Thank you.
Jason Brown, you're up next.
Assalamu alaikum, peace and love to all and sundry. My name is Jason Ross Brown. I'm a development consultant in San Francisco to a number of African-American led and Muslim-led organizations in this city. Particularly, I'm curious about if there's, I waited to the end because I came like really late, so I apologize for that, but I'm wondering if there were any conversation around faith-based communities and workforce development and developing workforce programs within faith-based organizations.
Welcome. Glad you made it.
Thank you.
I will say just more generally, the only part you missed earlier is we're not discriminating based on if you're a faith-based organization or not. You are eligible to apply. If you have a program, we welcome you to submit your proposal.
Okay. In addition, within our congregation at the San Francisco Muslim Community Center, we're like the only African American led organization, Muslim led organization since 1978 in the city, and our leadership has always been formerly incarcerated individuals, as well as a large membership, a portion of our membership. Are there any programs specifically targeting formerly incarcerated folks in the workforce development initiatives that you're planning?
Love to hear it. We have a very strong history of folks with the reentry and justice involved population in our programs. So looking forward to seeing more folks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amy, you.
Hi, thank you so much for providing this listening session. My name is Amy Yu, and I am a part of Felton Institute. And so I just wanted to let you all know that I think it's really important to consider our gap population. So whether you're a young adult to adults to older adults, that a lot of folks need the education and the background and the resources to be able to find a job. And so we've worked with a lot of folks, whether it's, lack of digital literacy or really needing those hand holding and the resources to be able to get them to a place where they can actually get a job. And so I think just considering the folks that need more assistance than the average normal person who can really get a job, I think that's really important to consider. Another thing to consider maybe just how benefits may impact employment, because as we're helping folks to get jobs, it's important for them to understand other factors. And as other folks were stating about benefits and benefits going away, and understanding how all these benefits may impact their ability to work or work a certain amount of hours, or having to work as Medi-Cal is going away. And that's more of a need basis versus, oh, I just, I have to go back to work. So that's another thing to consider, is just benefits. And then also a lot of folks, especially within, while we're talking about justice impacted, the population, homeless, getting people back into the swing of getting back to work, just considering a more of a stipend training, because for folks who haven't worked for a long period of time and getting back into it because they were caregiving or whatnot, they haven't been in the workforce for a long time. And so for them, someone also mentioned soft skills. Being able to learn all of this is really important to getting that job, and the retention piece of them being able to hold a job. And while they're training and learning, they still have to pay their rent and their bills. And so that's also a big factor to consider. And the last thing I wanted to bring up is, if you had ever considered a platform or a collaborative effort with a lot of the city departments to try to figure out, maybe we sort of consider with a library or an app based for others, where, because we're in such moving parts right now with some programs that are training that are going away, some new ones coming about, and so forth, and trying to figure out where is one platform or a kiosk or an app that they can go to where they say, hey, you know what? There's this amazing program at City College, or Success Center has this amazing program, or now, Goodwill has this amazing training program that's just come about. Just really up-to-date information for all the workforce partners to be able to really get together and say this is what's available right now. Because as we consider a lot of the federal and state programs and city programs that are coming and going, I think information is really important, and sharing the information through all, because we're all doing this sort of in a way where there's all these different populations, right? So just one shared space for someone to, if I'm just as impacted, having a space where they can go to the library, here are all the trainings for folks that are just into helping this population. So just something to consider. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. You gave us a litany of things to consider. I appreciate your dedication as one of our workforce warriors. I just wanted to touch on something that you mentioned earlier on about the stipends. So for everyone's awareness, when you are applying, you're telling us how you are going to operate said program that we're looking for investment in. So if you believe that stipend should be a part of a participant's training program, please include that in your proposal. We have folks that have written that in, and we support those in, and that is an acceptable use of the funds that you're budgeted through our office. And then there was one more thing that I wanted to, so the mayor recently announced some investment in prioritizing like the city as a service provider and where our digital gaps are. So that is an effort that is underway. Planning has been ongoing, and we have had some meetings like with that office to understand how we can coordinate on better and providing better information digitally and digital solutions. I want to also note, like, I think for our office, because we are so far reaching and we serve every type of person and within a multitude of populations, we always want to ensure that we are with what we are information that we are putting out, that it is accessible for everyone. And not everyone always has digital access or likes it for that matter. And so heard, and I think that we are, as we approach our work in rolling out this new RP, we're also having a lot of conversations with other city agencies about efforts that are underway for them and improvements that they're considering around how they're serving San Francisco. So know that we are definitely doing that as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Amy. And Director Jordan, you're next.
Hi all, thank you so much for hosting this session. My name is Jardine. I just have a quick comment and wanted to echo something that Lisa mentioned earlier. As you design this RFP, I want to note that feeder programs play a vital role in preparing and connecting participants to programs that lead to employment. But because of this, they shouldn't necessarily be held to the same employment deliverables as programs further along the pipeline. Just wanted to note that really quick.
Thank you, Jordan. Appreciate the comment. Nick, you are next.
Hey, sorry for the delay there. And thanks for hosting this listening session. Really appreciate it. I'm from the Community Music Center in San Francisco. And my question is, will your office be able to provide support to nonprofits who are looking to do a feasibility study on facilities?
Sorry, Nick, I lost the last part of your question there. Could you repeat that, please?
Sure. Will your office be able to provide support to nonprofits who are looking to do a feasibility study on facilities?
That is, we fund primarily the employment and training, and I guess like the better response to that for you is if their facilities upgrades are not what our funds are budgeted for. So I'm afraid that is not something that we have capacity. I will say though, the other half of our organization is the economic development, and there are a host of services that our Office of Small Business and the Community Economic Development divisions offer to businesses, and some of that is inclusive of facility support.
Okay, that's really helpful. So the Office of for Small Businesses might be able to assist with that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, Lisa, who isn't Lisa. I'm sorry, I forgot what your name was. Do you have another question?
Oh, no, sorry, I'm going to lower my hand. Thank you.
No worries. I'm not seeing any additional hands, but I want to give folks one last opportunity to ask any lingering questions. But remember, this is the beginning of the conversation, not the end. We're not only going to have 3 more in-person listening sessions, but we're also going to provide you with an email where you can send your questions and comments.
Hi.
All
Hello?
right. Hi, did you have a
Hi.
question?
Sorry.
That's okay. Hi.
I wasn't sure if my hand was raised or anyways, thank you for listening. My name is Desiree Vesau. I am the employment specialist for the Salvation Army Culinary Training Academy. And I just wanted to introduce myself and thank you guys. I'm really happy that this process is going to get started, and we hope to be included. I guess one of my questions would be, you had mentioned that if we are interested in incorporating a stipend into our training academy, is that something that we just add to the proposal? And my other question would be, originally our class is about $7,000, but we have relied on donations from our community and our donors. So is that something also that we put into the proposal?
Hi, Desiree, appreciate the question. The quick answer is yes. If stipends are part of your training program's model, then you would include that. There's a section of there where you'll need to submit information around the budget so we understand how the funds will be used. In terms of if you receive external funds, that's not necessarily relevant to our process and how you will apply for additional funding through our office.
Okay, great. Thank you. Really appreciate you guys.
All right, I don't want to butcher your name, but the individual from CCSC, you're next.
Hi, my name is Pugh from CCSC. I just have a quick question. Earlier, the director mentioned that the funding will be like between 15 to 18 millions. How many awards are we looking at so that we can just get a better sense of it?
I am not presently able to share what that total number is, but you will have that in mind, and we will put that information out there with the instructions of the RFP once that determination has been finalized.
Thank you.
Kat Fuentes, did you have another question?
Yeah, I apologize. If you kind of beat me to it, but I'll rephrase it in a different way. Are there any minimum or maximum application request amounts for this funding source?
We will put out a range that we will be offering awards for and determine what those award amounts are based on each program, or I should say each programmatic area.
Got it. Thank you. So no maximums, essentially.
There will be a band. So yes, there will be a max.
Oh, understood. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone here who hasn't had a chance to ask a question yet? I'm cycling through the tiles and I don't see any more raised hands. Anybody? Going once? Twice?
Okay, I came really late, so that's why I'm really trying to hold back. I'm sure you answered this question, but have the priorities of this RFP already been determined? Are these conversations determining what you're going to prioritize? That was like, I don't know how late I came. Have the
Mr. Brown,
deliverables
we
already
got
been
you.
determined? Okay. If they're coming in the slideshow, let me know. I'll look for the slideshow. I apologize, but thank you so
No
much.
worries, no apology needed. The good news is that we've recorded this, so you'll be able to rewatch this wonderful presentation that we put together. But to answer your question, we have identified sectors that we are looking to invest in, and they are aligned with the mayor's priorities for San Francisco. And we are using these listening sessions more broadly to define the specifics about what that looks like with you all as our partners that will be administering these programs. But keep an eye out for that fun video.
Thank you so much. No further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Sure.
Going once, twice. All right. Speak now or wait until the 16th of October. And again, we'll provide you with an email address if you have, and it sounds much better in French, what they call a spirit of the staircase moment where you are like, I should have asked that. You'll have the opportunity to do so at either one of our upcoming community listening sessions. The first in-person one will be taking place on Thursday, October 16th from 5 to 7 at the Southeast Community Center located at 1515 Evans Avenue. The focus of this will be general employment services for adult and youth job seekers. Our second in-person session will be Wednesday, the 5th of November from 5 to 7 at the SF Permit Center located at 49 South Van Ness and that should say 132. Not 13, 132. So we'll correct that. And that focus will be on sector exploration with an emphasis on healthcare, hospitality, and construction. And then our last listening session will be on the 13th of November, also from 5 to 7. Same location, SF Permit Center, 49 South Van Ness. This one will be in room 192. Focus of this will be on sector exploration with an emphasis on technology, climate, property management, and maritime careers. And as I mentioned when we kicked off, language interpretation will be offered at all of these in-person sessions, and no registration is required to attend these sessions. All right. And so we thank you. We thank you so much for joining us today. Your insight and expertise are absolutely invaluable in shaping this RFP to effectively support our community and address its needs. We hope you will participate in our remaining 3 sessions. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out at the email address you see on the screen, workforce.development@sfgov.org. All right, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
We'll
you
see
so
you out
much.
there soon.